Looking at these serious Fulani military activities in Kwara State, and as it has to do with the decision of Sunday Igboho to actually offer solution, I want to believe that Sunday Igboho should be given that opportunity. Because we understand that in the time past, when we had issue of the circuit of a ganga in, of course, Oyo State, it was the effort of Sunday Igboho that saw the people of that area being savaging the situation. Because as at the time we had that challenge under Muhammadu Buhari, it was certain that the government was not ready to address it. Hence, there was a lacuna. Of course, the Sunday Igboho stepped in and we saw success in that area. I must say that people must be protected. People's right to life must be protected. And the government have taken a responsibility. Of course, we understand that even in the Constitution, talking about Section 14, Section 2B of 1999 Constitution as amended, is very clear that the welfare of the people and their security shall be the primary purpose of governance. So to that extent, the federal government, the state governments, the local governments have a collective responsibility to protect lives and property. But now that we are seeing a lacuna, a gap, and an individual is offering to fill that gap, I think the government should allow him. More so, this perfectly fit into the community-based initiative of federal government. Because I must say it's unacceptable seeing the manner at which communities is being sacked in Kwara State. Because as far as I'm concerned, the only thing they committed is being lawful, law-abiding, and living in that part of the country. And more so, as we are seeing increased attack in even the southwest by the Fulani militaries, I must say that this have to be quickly addressed. Because as far as I'm concerned, if it's not addressed, by the time it gets into the southwest properly, it will go to the south part of the country, to the southeast part of the country, and it will spread everywhere. Because in the recent time, we have always seen increased attack in a Yoruba community, in, of course, in Kogi, talking about Yaba, where the activity of Fulani militaries have increased recently. So it must be addressed as urgently as possible, as quickly as possible. More so, as we have equally seen a recent one, talking about assassination attempt on a commander of Amateku. I think in Osun State, to be precise. So if they can have that dexterity, that impunity to attack a security head, a local security head, so you can imagine how the life of Nigerians have become vulnerable. That is why I'm of the view that a Sunday Igboho who have pledged to lead and salvage the communities in those areas should be given that opportunity. More so, as government have come back clearly to canvass community-based policing. We understand that the government, federal government this time around, have advised states, not just advised, it's a directive anyway, to start engaging forest guards. But let me quickly say at this point, even Oyo State can decide to inculcate a Sunday Igboho to lead its own forest guard. That way, he is legally empowered to enter into the bushes, into the forest, to start fighting. And if that happens, we decide that when it comes to fighting crime and criminality, states can collaborate with other states in doing that. Because we understand that even at the level of sovereignties, like Nigeria is currently fighting insurgency, we know that at some point there was a military joint task force that encompassed Nigeria, Niger, Cameroon, other neighboring countries who had similar problems. So in the same vein, if we have a situation where a Sunday Igboho is leading forest guard in Oyo State, and Kwara is a stone throw, is a neighbor around the same axis, so they can collaborate and he can even lead his personnel into their forest, their bushes, to dislodge bandits. But ultimately, I'm of the view that a Sunday Igboho should be given an opportunity to address the challenge we now face in that particular Kwara state. And if care is not taken, it should equally be given the opportunity to go to even the Kogi area, because we understand that in Yaba Aziz, the Fulani militaries are already wreaking havoc. Because you begin to wonder, begin to ask, does it mean the Fulanis have an unfinished business in Kwara State? Because these are people who have taken over the monarchical system of government in Kwara State in terms of emirship. We understand that it is under, their emir is under the Sokoto Emirates. That happened after the fall of Afonja in the issue involving Janta Alimi and Afonja, talking about the 18th century event. These are going into all the details. But the question is, what is their problem? What are they looking for? That is where the governor of the state must rise to the occasion to do the needful. Talking about the governor of Kwara State this time around, because it behoves on him to protect lives and property. Because as far as I'm concerned, even the reason we recently start seeing American government, American senator, journalists speaking about the issue that involves Nigeria as it has to do with Christians being killed and all of that. We understand that Nigerian government have since debunked that. But the question is, if there's no killing at all, they will not have the insight about whether Christians are being killed, Muslims are being killed, and all of that. But the question is, whether you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, you're an idol worshipper, you deserve to be protected. Because the president, the governors, the local government chairmen have collectively sworn to an oath to protect lives and property of Nigerians. More so, as it is incumbent on them, going by the position of the Constitution, talking about Section 14, Section 2B of 1999 Constitution, that have given them that responsibility to protect lives and property. But another issue is, why are we not calling some persons to question? Because I understand that someone like Baraje came out recently to make it clear that they brought Fulani militias from neighboring countries, African countries, in 2015 to remove a Jonathan from office. Now the question is, why is it that the country, the authorities, are not asking such person questions? Another issue is, someone like Shegumi, who of course we know canvasses non-kinetic approach to fighting bandits, who often advise other government to negotiate with bandits. The question I'm not asking is, why is federal government not asking him some question? Because this is someone who was deprived from performing Hajj in 2025 by Saudi authority. Of course, Saudi authority must have gotten some level of intelligence. But the question is, why is the government not asking, even sharing, asking Saudi authority to share some level of intelligence with them and even call the likes of Shegumi to ask him some question? And if you even go further, even someone like Buba Galadima made it very clear the other time again that under Obasanjo as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and of course, Tinubu was the governor of Lagos State then, that the OPC, the Yorubas, were making moves to dismantle what he called the Fulani structure in Kwara, in Ilorin. That it is even part of the reason they drafted Igbohoh into politics. As according to him, that Buhari's entrance into the politics helped to stop that. So begin to wonder, begin to ask, what does he mean by Fulani structure in Kwara State? The emir of Kwara is already a Fulani man under Sokoto Emirates. Nobody's contending with that. So what are they looking for? That, as we see currently, they now sack people from their ancestral homes. Talking about a fellow local government, of course, I think is the worst hit when it comes to this renewed hostility, banditry in that axis. Let's go into some allegation made by residents of the state that has to do with maybe compromise, maybe vigilantes being they are going to be taken away because we cannot independently verify the authenticity of those reports. But I want to say that forest guards, security-based, yes, community-based security initiatives should be strengthened in those areas. Because even if you are moving in the conventional security agencies like the police, the army, the navy, the air force, you equally need the collaboration of the locals who, of course, have the relevant intelligence that's even needed by the security agencies to fight these bandits. Because whether we like it or not, the governor, in collaboration with the armed forces, must address this insecurity to the point where the locals should be able to come back to their communities. I understand that at some point, about 7 local governments in the state, talking about Kwara state, shut down markets as a way of addressing the insecurity. But the question is, when the market was shut, instead of the Fulani communities in Kwara state to support the effort of the local government that shut down the market, they were against it. You begin to wonder, begin to ask, is their interest in the market or the safety of the people of the localities? Because we decided that there was equally another allegation that came from a youth, of course, who led protests against the killings. Because according to the youth, that the emir ordered his arrest, or the traditional ruler ordered his arrest. So you begin to wonder, begin to ask, why will such person life be threatened? Because according to him, throughout the protest, it was free and fair. And we understand that the Constitution gives us the right of free and fair, give us the right of peaceful protest, because Section 50 of 1999 Constitution as amended guarantee Nigerians the right of peaceful protest. Because it's a way of the citizens drawing attention of federal government in any area they feel dissatisfied. So once a protest is free, is devoid of rancor, is devoid of coerce, no life lost, I don't think it should demand for the arrest of any person that led the protest. So that is where the governor equally need to step in, because once the Constitution guarantees right of protest and somebody engages in it in a peaceful manner, I think that person should not be hounded, should not be intimidated by the authorities. Because as far as I'm concerned, the Fulanis who are law-abiding equally need to be protected by the law and the Constitution and the security agencies. But the ones who are wreaking havoc need to be isolated and dealt with according to the law. But another major issue is, we understand that the Fulani themselves should know the foreign Fulanis, because it has been said severally that the foreign Fulanis are the ones that wreak havoc. But the way it is difficult for you as an individual to know the regular Fulani or the foreign Fulani. So it behoves on the Fulani themselves to identify who is a foreign Fulani, who is a Nigerian Fulani. We understand that in the time past, there was nothing like banditry. There was nothing like kidnapping. There was nothing like raping occasioned by Fulani headers. So it is the activities of Fulani headers in sometimes in conjunction with Fulani militias that brought about this mistrust. Because as we speak, no community, particularly in the southern part of the country, will be willing to cede land for ranching if that arises. Because I understand that it has been established that the panacea for resolving this conflict, particularly the one involving Fulani headers and communities, is ranching. But the question is, who will not provide land for ranching? Particularly in the southern part of the country. I may not speak for the northern part of the country. Because for anybody to accept to provide land, it means the Fulani themselves, particularly the headers, have a lot to do to build confidence that they are not who people think they are. And that has to do with, because you don't enforce such, it's something you earn from your activities over time. It means it will take some time for Nigerians to start believing that they are peace-loving people. But ultimately, I want to encourage southern states to start enacting anti-open grazing laws. Hence, they have been given opportunity to establish forest guards who cannot in turn enforce such laws. Because for me, as far as I'm concerned, people who train cow, who own cow, who are ready to rear cow, should be ready and willing to ranch their cow. But at this point, I must say very thank you for your time. This is Sunday Igboho.